And this is for me and you. Who is someone that has let you down a lot in life? And the serious question, did you be serious?
A
Someone that has let
lot?
you someone has well we either we can just say let you down, period. It don't necessarily have to be so many times, but period.
Do you
Has
want to
let
go
you
first then?
I give you time to think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It would definitely be my father, since we on this topic.
Mm,
Okay. It would definitely be my father. Um because he was definitely a deadbeat. He was a deadbeat. And for some reason, when I was younger, he left my life when I was younger. I was like, junior kindergarten. Him and my mom separated, and and I was crazy about my father. I think kids just be crazy. I don't know what it is. Kids just be crazy about their fathers. I was
yeah.
crazy about my father, and I would always call him every time I had something. We moved to like maybe a town that was like 15 minutes away from where he was living. So I would always call him when I had anything going on, programs, plays, and he would always tell me he's coming. I'll be so excited, like an idiot. I'll be so excited, and I'll be at my play or at my event, and I'll see my mom in the audience, but I'll be looking over her like, no, Dad was coming. Where's Dad? And he would never show up. And then after so many times, and he would always have an excuse every time I would call him when it was over. And he just always disappointed me.
Mm,
And one thing I will say about my mom, she never badmouthed him or said anything bad about him. As I grew older, I appreciate that because I got to just kind of find him out for myself and without the help of somebody dogging him all the time.
yeah.
So she never dogged him. But I just got to see he was just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. And when I got older, I got into high school. I was seeing him randomly. He got sick, and I'm so glad I got a chance to make peace with him. We made peace because he passed my junior year in high school. But I got a chance to make peace. But that always bothers me, even in my big old age. I hate I didn't have my father in my life. And when I see kids with their fathers, I have such a special love and just like joy for it when I see it. Because it just makes my day when I see men being men and men being fathers to their children, no matter what the
Yeah.
situation is. Cause I still yearn. I realize I still yearn for that. I mean, it's over, but I still yearn for that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my biggest letdown person.
That's hard for me because the only, honestly, the only three people who I've ever truly like leaned on for anything to date
Mhm.
would be my mother, my uncle, who became my father figure.
Okay.
That's the one I lived with for for a short while, and my aunt, who recently passed. I also lived with from Chicago. Well, she's not from Chicago, but she lived there pretty much all her life. So those are, and they've always delivered
Yeah.
every time, especially my mother. Uh, so not to steal your same
No, it is what it is.
response, but I would have to say my father. I can't really say to give an answer, just to of overall disappointment from a person. My father was hit by a semi truck shortly after I was born, which caused a he was a completely different person after the accident.
Yeah.
So my mother ended up leaving him because of that. Like 100%. He did a total,
I've
he's
heard of
different
somebody.
person. Um and he would have seizures just randomly throughout his days. He was in a coma and everything. Had to, my mom and his mom were there throughout all of it. Others were there as well
Yeah.
to help him relearn how to read and write and speak and so on and so forth, walk. And then my mom was just like, oh, I can't do it. So anyway, they separated, and the connection between him and I just wasn't there. But him and my brother had a great connection. My older brother.
This is after.
This
This
is
is
after the accident.
Okay.
after the months of him being in a coma and
Right.
then recuperating, right?
Okay.
Um, so then he remarried, had 4 kids, and during that time, we had our visitations and things. But he never paid me any attention, and it was seen more so as like him just not recognizing me as his child, even though I
How,
look just like him. I
and
look
that's
just like my father.
and that's how it is. How old were you when the accident happened?
Uh, it was like a year or two
You were a
after I
baby.
was
You were a
born.
baby.
Yeah, yeah. So, which they're saying, could be a reason why it interfered with his memory of me. So anyway, I found out after he died, which was, I think he passed in like 2013. No, 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 no. Sorry. He definitely passed before. He passed like in 2000, between 2003 2005 is when he passed.
Okay. Okay.
So because I do remember I was in the Air Force sometime after he had passed away. So anyway, um when he passed, I found out from my mom that the two of them had been communicating. He had ended up leaving his wife and finding like an apartment. Like he moved out and everything, found a little apartment for him up in Toledo, Ohio.
Mhm.
That's where we're from. And oh, again, he would have seizures, so he would need medication to control those seizures to prevent them daily. So I found out that he had written me in as his sole beneficiary upon his death during that time of him leaving his wife. So the thought is he came back into his original self during that time because him and my
Oh,
mom had been
weird.
communicating,
Yeah.
and he put me down as the sole beneficiary of everything before his death. And so, and they were talking about him relocating so that they could be closer. And then potentially, I honestly think that they would have gotten back together because my mom and my dad were like
High school.
soulmates. No, not high school,
Uh
like
oh.
elementary, middle school type. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That got to
So
be a lot.
yeah, it was a lot. So anyway, long story short, he passed away, and I learned that I was a sole beneficiary and everything. He passed away because he didn't take his
That's
medication, and so he died in his sleep during a seizure. That was my biggest disappointment because I really, I'm not a sentimental person, but I do often think about, oh, what would my life be like now if my father was in my, if I had my father in my life.
I do.
That's
I do too. I do too.
that's where my uncle stepped in and he became my father figure. So because my mom didn't remarry until we were adults,
Yeah.
so
I had a close family. I had good relatives too. That that was always there. I was never
yeah,
a need for anything, but it still doesn't replace your father.
no, it doesn't.
I
It,
really
it
would have liked to
doesn't.
have my father in this place, not my
Yeah, and the
uncle.
disappointment is, I understand all of what happened, and it really I can't really blame him
Mhm.
because it was a medical issue. It was a medical condition. He was a coma and lapsed memory lapse. But during that time where you were coming into yourself and you found you were sane enough and you found time and you thought about going and putting everything into my name and out of your wife's at the time, your wife's name or your children with her, like none of them were listed.
Yeah, that's
It was only me.
were they still kids, or were they adults at this time?
I'm the oldest because he had those kids after me.
So again, were
I don't know how old they could be.
because they could be 75 now. You got telling me that? Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh, anyway, shut up. So they were kids. They were still kids, not kids, but I think two or three of them were in their
You have any
excuse me
relation?
teens. Two or three of them were.
You have any relationship with them?
I do not. I've met them many times. When we were going over there for visitations, I
Yeah.
saw them and everything. But no, we don't have a relationship. No.
I have something similar to that.
So I have two, aside from Kevin and Stanley, I
Mm.
have four others, two girls, two boys.
Before my father passed, maybe a couple years before he passed, he remarried also.
Mm.
And his wife at the time, because my father was military, his wife at the time, she had a grandchild. So she had my father. They adopted the grandchild and
Okay.
gave him, because she was smart,
The name?
and gave him our last name. And I remember being younger, and I remember he was trying to get better far as seeing us. So we would go see him and spend a weekend with him and his new wife. And at the time, the little grandson was like really small. He was probably like a toddler, and we was crazy about him. And then after he passed, we didn't have any. We didn't reconnect with that, because again we were
Mm.
kids. We didn't reconnect with that lady. So I found myself. I thought about him one day, and I looked him up on Facebook, and I saw him on Facebook one day because he still
Was he
has.
alive?
He has our last name. Yeah, I found him on Facebook. I don't know if he would remember me, but I found him on Facebook.
Maybe you should reach out at some point.
Yeah, but he was a baby, so I don't know what he's like
Well, you're
now.
still his brother.
Yeah,
Well, I guess you're
we,
not
we,
his blood brother.
he has my last name.
Yeah, but you're not blood brothers.
Um,
But I mean,
but that
still,
don't
he
mean
was raised
well.
by your father, so.
Well, only for like maybe a year or so.
Oh.
I think my dad was already sick, and the lady, she was
Mhm.
smart about her business, so
Yeah,
she
that's right.
rushed it. I don't even know if my daddy really signed the paperwork, but it happened. She was one of those types.
Oh my God, that's what his wife. That's what my father's wife was claiming, that he didn't, that my name was forged into that paperwork, not realizing that those are like legal documents that have to be notarized. So forgery couldn't have. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, that's sad, and I guess to finally answer the question on my end, the disappointment isn't the the disappointment. I guess window for me is when he had come into himself and was acknowledging these differences that had occurred, and then
It was too
between his death,
it was
like
too
not
late.
communicating with me, because I was certainly old enough at the time. I
Yeah.
was I was a teenager. I was either in the 11th or 12th grade when he passed.
Dang, so we got something in common. My father passed. I was a junior in high school,
Mm.
and let me say this, and because